Hi everyone, please give me a few minutes. Just need to set some things up. Thank you. Okay, hi everyone. Can you see my screen? Okay, you guys can hear me, right? Just to reconfirm. Okay, yay. So, hi everyone. Hope all of you are having an amazing day so far. I'm Zizi, also known as one of the business studies helpers, and I'm here today going to talk about marketing, finance, and paper 2 tips and tricks. As paper 2 approaches all of us, IGCSE takers tomorrow, I'm sure the 0450 syllabus may take a lot to cover, especially trying to memorize every finance formula and marketing pricing methods. But don't worry, that is exactly why I'm here today. My goal today is to help all of you master paper 2 tomorrow, along with the two core chapters, marketing and finance. Oh, hello. Can you guys hear me? Okay. So, firstly, let's take a look at the agenda for today's session. So, before touching theory, I'm going to talk about how to answer the exam and nail it with confidence. I'll also be sharing some top tips and tricks for paper 2 so you know exactly what examiners are looking for. Afterwards, I will be discussing about frequently asked knowledge that appears a lot in past papers for the marketing section. And after that, I'll discuss the nerve-wracking finance section and I'll break it into the most important key concepts so that they are easy to remember for you all later. And of course, to end off the session, I will be answering questions. Yes, the format will be discussed. And also, I would like to give credits to Lee, another business studies helper, for the information that is going to be presented here regarding 12 markers. And also Mr. Lee for an image used for 12 markers. So before I start, do any of you have any questions? All right, so I'm first going to talk about 8 markers. So, of course, I'm sure most of you may know 8 markers, they come in 3 particular styles. The first one is having for knowledge and for application, which is the one of the case study. They may ask, what are 4 entrepreneurship characteristics that, for example, business name will need? So, if there's the business name, you will have to, of course, use application in the case of 8 markers. And next is for knowledge and for analysis. So it's a generic question. There's no specific business name mentioned. And the last one is to knowledge for analysis and for application, which is together with the case study. Oh, I will not hold an econ section as I do not take economics. Are there any questions regarding this before I move on? The last one should be like, for example, state or outline 2 benefits of batch production, for example. So you would have to say 2 reasons, and then you would have to use application, analysis, and further analysis for each reason. Oh, sorry guys, there is a typo. I meant 2 knowledge, 4 analysis, and 2 application. I'm so sorry. Do you have examples on how to answer the questions? Yes, I will be showing this after. For the 4 knowledge and 4 application style, should we also briefly explain? Mentioning the knowledge and using an application is already enough. I'll be showing an example, by the way. No, you would not have to analyze if the business name is mentioned. I will be putting the slide in the pins later. Oh, all right, let's move on. So before I show examples, of course, I see in the business studies chat that a lot of you seem to struggle with analysis. So I would like to give Mr. Lee credit for this again. This is a very helpful way to break down analysis. So there are 3 steps you must know when doing analysis. First one is what, which is the knowledge, how, which is the impact, and affect, the result. So if you guys don't have a clear idea on how it works, I'll be giving an example. So in the case of, okay, no business studies context, let's make it general so it's easy for you guys to understand. So let's say the knowledge is, if I study for my business exam tomorrow, I will understand the concepts better. So can anyone guess what studying will lead to? Reap, I will not be answering that question. Oh yeah, see, someone said the answer here, knowing more of the answers to the questions. So this will help me answer the questions smoothly during the exam, which will lead to. Yes, someone said the correct answer, which allows me to get an A star. So roughly your analysis should look like this. If I study for my business exam tomorrow, I will understand the concepts better, which will help me answer the questions smoothly during the exam, which allows me to get an A star or an A. Does this clear up analysis for everyone? Yes, because in 8 marks, you would need further analysis. Using further analysis in 12 marks is also recommended to get it L2 or level 2. All right, so let's move on. So this is one of the first 8 markers I have talked about. So this is for knowledge and for analysis. Before I talk about the answer, does anyone have any ideas about the answers? Yes, some of you have said one of the correct answers. All right, so the first advantage would be limited liability. A lot of you have said this. And of course, because this is about a business, they don't specify any specific business name. So you would need to use for knowledge and for analysis. So you would need to develop the point. So limited liability, as the owners will not lose personal possessions if the business is unable to pay its debts. Furthermore, second advantage, sales can be sold to family and friends to raise capital. That is the knowledge, and which means larger amounts of capital may be raised compared to a sole trader or partnership. Oh yeah, just a note, the green one is knowledge and the orange one is analysis. Furthermore, a disadvantage would be legal formalities. Setting up the company may be complicated as the business has to complete paperwork to register the company, which takes time and money. And the last advantage, shares cannot be sold on stock exchange. Therefore, family and friends may be less willing to buy shares as transferring shares isn't easy either. Are there any questions regarding this? All right, so moving to the next one. This is the second style of an 8 marker, which is explain 4 ways a business plan could help Catherine. Now, they mentioned a specific name, which is the owner of the business, Catherine. So, of course, we would need to use application. So, we have for knowledge and for application here. So, the 4 ways a business plan could help Catherine. Way one, to help convince the bank to give her a loan to open the new shop. Oh yeah, also, sorry guys, there's not enough space to put the insert, but I already made the application purple. Yes, predicting cash flow problems, finding gaps in the market, raise finance. Yes, this is all very good answers. And the next one is to help give the business a sense of purpose and direction, such as selling wedding flowers. So basically, an idea of what they are going to sell or the products. Next, to calculate the business costs in the niche market. And to help choose the promotional methods to use to promote the small business. As I said before, there was not enough space to put the case study. I'm very sorry. I already marked the application purple so you know which one is the application. Next up, 8 markers, which was what someone asked before, to knowledge, to application, and for analysis. So does anyone have any idea the answer to this question? Okay, she can produce specialized products is correct. So, because you would need to knowledge, to application, and for analysis. So the first one would be meets the exact needs of customers. As job production is when you make a unique product, right, for the customers. So if they request a product, then you will make it specifically according to their needs. So not every customer will have the same one. So the application, the products could be curated to adjust to the likings of the bride or the groom. Once again, I'm very sorry. There's not enough space for a case study to be put here. So the application is marked as purple, knowledge as green, and analysis as orange. And the analysis would be increasing customer satisfaction, which improves brand image and reputation. As you can see, I already put analysis and along with further analysis. And this is what you need in these type of questions. Of course, further analysis is very important. Furthermore, reason 2 produces a unique product. So this makes the products of wedding flowers more competitive as it is unique, leading to higher revenue or sales, which increases the profit margin. I will be answering questions later, guys. There will be a specific time, which is by the end of the slide, for me to answer questions. Furthermore, now we are moving to 12 markers. So there's a lot of misconceptions that sorry, there is a lot of misconceptions that you would need to have two knowledge or two application for analysis for evaluation. Guys, the 12 markers is marked based on levels. So credits to Lee for this. Level 1, which is L1, it has only knowledge points and lacks an explanation of the point's impact on the business. Level 2 provides both the knowledge and explanation of the impact of the knowledge on the business, usually highlighting both the advantages and disadvantages. And if the advantages or disadvantages cannot be used, use further analysis instead. And level 3 explains the impact of the knowledge on the business, emphasizing why the chosen point is the most suitable and why the others are unsuitable for the business. So I do not have many examples with me today due to time constraint, but I will show one example, which is a calculation question that a lot of people tend to struggle on. So how are these exactly marked? So the marks allocation will be like this. Level 1, there is a total of 3 level 1 points. The first level 1 point will be awarded 1 mark. The second level 1 point will be awarded an additional mark. And the third level 1 point will be awarded 1 additional mark. So you would have 3 level 1 marks available. Furthermore, there's level 2. So if you already have level 2, you won't be able to gain level 1 because level 1 is just knowledge. Level 2 is knowledge with the impact. There are a total of 3 level 2 points. So the first level 2 point will be awarded 5 marks. The second level 2 point will be awarded 1 additional mark. The third level 2 point will be awarded 1 additional mark again. So you will be able to get 7 in total. And also do not forget that you will need to put application. So in cases where you only have you only can evaluate 2 possible options, the other mark will go to the application. Furthermore, level 3, there are a total of 3 level 3 points. The first level 3 point will be awarded 9 marks. The second level 3 point will be awarded 1 additional mark. And the third level 3 point will be awarded 1 additional mark again. So you will be able to get 11. Sometimes, in where you have to evaluate 2 choices, you would need 2 application points. And 3 choices, 2 is also good, but usually 1 is just fine. So 5 marks will be awarded for the first level 2 point. For example, that's already one option. So let's say maybe you have to evaluate 3 different options. So one option where you already explain the advantages or disadvantages or the impact on the business, you will get already 5 marks. For 12 out of 12, you would need to put at least application in it. Okay, furthermore, I'm going to be proceeding. So this is Mr. Lee's 12 marker cliff cube. This is an idea of how it will work. So you can see there are 2 application marks. So it really depends on the question. For example, if you have to evaluate 3 choices, then only 1 application mark is okay. But if you have to evaluate 2 choices, at least 2 application marks. But of course, try to apply the case study to your answers as much as possible. So when there is a level 2 evidenced in your answer, any level 1 will not be added onto your final mark. Only level 2 points will be awarded. And you will need 2 application points if you're evaluating 2 choices. I mean 3 choices, sorry. And 1 application point, or better 2 to be safe, for evaluating 2 choices. Okay, so next I will be talking about a 12 marker calculation question. So I'm very sorry again. The case study has too much information, which cannot fit in my slide. So I already just put Appendix 3. So here they're asking to compare the financial position in 2025 and the forecast financial position in 2026. So should Philip's sister invest in PF? So Philip is the owner of PF, by the way. So that means we would have to be evaluating 2025 and 2026, which means we're evaluating two options. First off, 2025. So you can see, as long as I put calculation, it can already award you a level 2 mark. But personally, I'd like to be safe and add for the analysis. So it's really simple to get a level 2 mark in a 12 marker question, especially a calculation question, which is what makes these 12 markers so goated, guys, because just calculating already gets you a level 2 mark. So here I calculated the current ratio. As current ratio, the formula is current assets over current liabilities. So 50 out of 40 is 1.25. An asset test ratio is current assets minus inventory over current liabilities, which equals to 1. So you can see the current ratio is low, which suggests PF has low liquidity, meaning that they may not be able to pay short-term debts that they may have spent to supply natural rubber for the product. So you can see I already put a level 2 answer, which is my calculation, and I've also added application, which is the natural rubber. For what is considered high and low, I will be discussing that later in the finance chapter, okay? And just to repeat again, I will not be answering questions during the session. I will be answering after I'm done explaining everything. The working capital is not a sufficient way to compare here. Okay, furthermore, going up to 2026. So 2026 current ratio, of course, 60 out of 50, which makes 1.2. Asset test ratio, 60 minus 30 out of 50 equals 0.6. So you can see the inventories also by 2026 are forecast to increase by $20,000, and the bank loans are forecast to increase by $460,000. So, especially if the low liquidity, the expansion appears to affect the large bank loan. This may cause problems in the future as it would need to be repaid, which increases the cash outflow, leading to less funds available for capital investment. So, this already earns a level 2 mark once again. And for the recommendation, this is what most people tend to struggle on, which is the recommendation. A lot of the time, people just mention why the option is best and why not the other options. But in a calculation case, it will be different. So, recommendation, Philip's sister shouldn't invest in PF because there is a decrease in asset test ratio. In 2026, the asset test ratio is below 1, which suggests that PF does not have enough liquid assets to cover its current liabilities, signaling financial instability. This means they may need a bank loan to cover producing costs of the shoes, which is my application once again. The decrease in current ratio also suggests that the liquidity of PF is worsening, and this may discourage shareholders from investing into PF as well. You can see the asset test ratio has also decreased by 0.4. So you can see that I had a factor here that influenced my decision, which is the asset test ratio. So it's very recommended to have like a depending factor or a factor on why you did not choose that decision. So putting your justification first or last really depends on you. Back then, I used to put it as last, but now I put it as first. So it's really up to your style of writing. All right, moving on. So now I will be talking about the important marketing core points. So I've been looking through past papers, and I think knowing these concepts are very important for tomorrow. The bank loan number was so large because they wanted to expand to a factory and that need a large loan to buy that factory. Apologies for not putting the case study once again. So first off, everyone, you would need to know the rules of marketing, which is identify customer needs, satisfying customer needs, build customer relationship, maintain customer loyalty, and anticipate changes in customer needs. Personally, I prefer just remembering it as identify, satisfy, build, maintain, anticipate. So it would be easier for not only me to remember, but also for you guys to remember. So I hope this helps. Just remembering, identify, satisfy, build customer relationship, maintain, and anticipate. Moving on. This is the marketing chapter section, which is section 3. No, you cannot use examples from real life stuff in application. You have to use it strictly from the case study. So next, marketing segmentation and reasons. So this is frequently asked. I think there was a question asking for reasons or 2 reasons. So first, it allows businesses to use marketing resources efficiently. Because instead of wasting time and money marketing to everyone, businesses can target specific groups likely to buy their products or their target market. Furthermore, satisfies customer needs because by understanding a specific segment's desires, businesses can tailor their products, features, design, and pricing to perfectly match those needs, leading to higher customer satisfaction. Furthermore, it identifies market gaps. Segmenting a market helps businesses discover untapped areas or unexplored areas or niches where few competitors are operating. And lastly, allows efficient decision making regarding the marketing mix. As if you already research your target market, then you will understand what platform they're usually in, what method of promotion needs to be used, what pricing method is the most effective to attract them. So, examples of segmentation: age, occupation, gender, lifestyle, income, geographic, basically anything specific. Furthermore, these are often asked in past papers. So of course, mass market, niche markets, these are the core pillars when learning the marketing chapter or section. So first, you would need to know what is a mass market. So a mass market is a market where products are designed and sold to a large number of people, catering to general needs and preferences. So you would need to know the advantages and the disadvantages of the two markets, mass and niche market. So the advantages of mass markets is that it's cost effective and saves time, as advertisement can be done in one setting for the whole market. Next, larger scope as exposed to a larger customer base, which increases sales. And it's easier to attract new customers as products are used by everyone. Furthermore, the disadvantages would be because they may focus on quantity over quality, because it would be like what they sell in mass markets usually would be like water, general needs, water, food, and so much more. So because they have a larger customer base, they would focus on selling as much as possible. Furthermore, intense competition, of course, whoever or whatever business is competing in the mass market are big businesses, water companies, food companies, you name it. And of course, it's difficult for small businesses to enter the market because they cannot gain from economies of scale and there's high competition. Furthermore, next there are niche markets. So a niche market is a small specialized segment of a larger market where customers have unique needs or specific characteristics. The advantages would be lower competition. Next, higher profit margins because there's a specific product. So customers will be willing to pay a high price for it, which means more profit. Stronger customer loyalty, and you can build customer relationships easier because in niche markets, you are way closer to the customer. This is a session talking about paper two tips and tricks, marketing and finance, just to clear things up again. And the disadvantages are risk of overdependence on a single product or market. So in niche markets, because there's a specific product, businesses may be focused on only selling one product, and of course they will be depending on this one product. So if it fails, then the business also fails, which shows how dependent they are on the product. Furthermore, limited sales or growth potential because it's only until a maximum as the customer base is small, and lacks of economies of scale. Because operating at a lower volume means you miss out on bulk purchasing and production discounts, which limits your profit margins compared to mass market competitors. Next up is the pricing methods. So, starting off, cost plus pricing, which is when the business calculates the cost of production and then adds a markup to determine the final price. And the markup covers the cost of production plus the business's desired profit margin. So, if this feels a bit confusing for you guys, don't worry, I will be given an example. The advantages of this would be it's easy to apply as you would just need to calculate the cost of production, then just add a markup. Different profit markups could be used in different markets, and each product earns a profit for the business. However, to earn profit, you would need a sufficient amount of units of the product sold. And also, you could lose sales if the selling price is higher than the competitors. So, if this is confusing to you, here's an example from the Hodder's textbook. So, I will let you guys take a look at it. Have most of you seen it? Do you guys have any questions regarding it, or do you guys not understand? So here they're basically calculating the average cost, and then they have a 50% profit on each bar. So which is 50%. That is the markup. So the cost of production is the $2,000 over 2,000. So because that's $1 already. So 50% of the total production cost is 0.5 or 50 cents. So the selling price will be $1.50. $1.50. Okay, continuing. The second pricing method we have is competitive pricing. So it's when the product is priced in line with or just below competitors' prices to try to capture more of the market. The advantages are sales are likely to be high as the price is realistic, used when it is difficult for consumers to tell the difference between the products of different businesses. Furthermore, the disadvantages would be could lead to losses, as cost of production could be higher than competitors. Furthermore, higher quality products needs to be sold at a higher price to establish their high quality. Otherwise, they will also make a loss if they made it really low. And detailed research needs to be done regarding what prices competitors are charging, which is time consuming and expensive. And no, I will not be doing past papers. I did do a few past papers just a few slides ago, but that was briefly just an example. Furthermore, the next one is penetration pricing. So when the price is set lower than the competitors' prices in order to be able to enter a new market. The advantages is that it is used for newly launched products. It ensures sales are made and product enters the market successfully, and market share should build up quickly. However, the disadvantages are sold at a low price, therefore profit per unit could be low. So they wouldn't have that much funds, for example, to invest in capital, so their profit margin will also be low as well. Next, customers might get used to low prices and reject the product if the business raises the price. This is also known as price elasticity and might not be appropriate for branded products with a reputation for quality, as again, it may lead to loss. Next up, price skimming is when a high price is set for a new product on the market. It helps establish the product as high quality. High research and development costs can be recovered from the profit being made, as the profit margin could be high. And if the product is unique, high price will lead to high profits. However, this may discourage customers as the price could be way too expensive. And the high price and high profitability may encourage more competitors to enter the market. And furthermore, promotional pricing is when you sell the product at a very low price for a short period of time. This is used when getting rid of unwanted inventory that will not sell. So it is very useful for that case. And it can renew interest of customers if the sales of a certain product are falling. However, yes, promotion is basically like a sale. However, revenue will be lower as price is reduced, which could, yeah, once again, lower profit margins, and it leads to price competition with competitors, leading to decrease of prices once again. And this is a pricing that I'm going to talk about that is actually in our that I've seen on past papers, but not many people really acknowledge this type of pricing, which is dynamic pricing. So, dynamic pricing is when businesses change product prices, usually when selling online, depending on the level of demand. So, basically, for example, maybe you want to buy a new iPhone 17 Pro Max. Sometimes, maybe, for example, it isn't always this case, but for example, maybe you see it for like $1,000, and then in 2 weeks, suddenly it's $500. So that's an example of dynamic pricing. And then it could change again. It could rise to $750. So, yes. Furthermore, methods of promotion, everyone. I repeat, this is often asked in past papers. They will always ask about leaflets or social media or posters, billboards. This is very important. I will not be reading all of this out due to the time we have, as there will be another session after this for CS. But I will be sharing these slides, do not worry. So, the methods of promotion would be through television, radio, newspapers, magazines, posters, or billboards, cinema, DVD, and Blu ray discs, although it's not very common to appear in past papers, leaflets, internet, and other forms of publicity. Next, I will be talking about the finance chapter. So I have sent this in the Business Studies channel today. I just posted it today. So this is all the formulas you will need to know for tomorrow. This is very important. So yes, revenue, productivity, you name it. So next up, I will be talking about uses of a cash flow forecast. So this is often asked in past papers as well. So you would need a cash flow forecast to start up a business, manage an existing business, keep the bank manager informed, managing cash flow, convince the bank to give a loan, and it also shows profitability or liquidity. It is used to tell how much cash is available, how much the bank might need to lend to the business, and if the business holds too much cash, which could be put into a more profitable use. Furthermore, this is also commonly asked, and this is a very important pillar you will need to know in business studies finance. So, internal and external sources of finance. Oh, yes, cash flow forecasts can also be used to help with future financial decisions. So internal finance, I won't get into advantages or disadvantages in details because of time constraint. But internal finance is like retained profit, sales of inventories to reduce inventory levels, owner savings, sales of existing assets, so on. No, Retina, you don't need to feel scared for tomorrow. Furthermore, external finance is issue of shares, bank loans, selling debentures, and factoring of debts. By the way, this is all in the textbook. They cover the advantages and disadvantages, at least for the hardest textbook. So don't worry. Or you can use Save My Exams or use the notes available in the Business Studies IGCSE channel. Furthermore, alternative sources of capital are also need to be remembered, which is microfinance and crowdfunding, and also remember the advantages and disadvantages of alternative sources of capital. Because I've seen a past paper ask about crowdfunding, which is really surprising. Yes, it is important to memorize, as I talked about before. This is a very important pillar of finance. Oh, someone is asking here, what is retained profit? Hmm, to put it to simple terms so that you can understand easier, retained profit is like a portion of a company's earnings that isn't paid out to the shareholders as dividends, but it is instead kept by the business for future use. A factoring of debts is not selling your debtors. Debtors is a stakeholder, by the way. So saying debtors would directly lead to losing a knowledge mark. So factoring of debts is when a business sells its invoices at a discount to a third party, which is a factoring company, in exchange for an advance of cash. Oh, microfinance. Microfinance are small loans for entrepreneurs in developing countries or those without traditional card access. And crowdfunding is like, for example, um, GoFundMe or like donation for the trees, $1 for one tree planted. Yeah, that's an example of crowdfunding. Economies of scale. Does microfinance require collaterals? No, it's usually given like for free. Meaning of factoring of debts. Um, a business is when a business sells its invoices at a discount to a third party, which is a factoring company, in exchange for an advance of cash. No, it is not begging on the streets. Microfinance is like, for example, let's say the government decides to give like to a business or an entrepreneur like a small loan because like maybe they may not have like access to enough funding, so on. economies of scale. To put it in simple words, it's when you want to like it's a way to lower the average cost to make each unit. So basically like when you produce a larger volume of a product which lowers the average cost to make each unit. For example, when you're bulk buying or having efficient production. Yes, debentures are certificates. It's usually like a long-term loan. So if someone is starting a new business, is using microfinance as a source of finance good? It really depends because this is about like microfinance is more specific to developing countries. Okay, moving on. Long and short-term sources of finance is frequently asked. So long-term would be bank loans, hire purchase, leasing, issue of shares, debentures. And short-term is like trade credit, overdrafts, factoring of debts. And again, do learn all their advantages or disadvantages. Furthermore, how to overcome cash flow problems. So for the long term, you would need to attract new investors, cut costs, and develop new products. And in the short term, you would need to increase bank loans, ask your debtors to pay quicker, or kind of like a bit of forcing, but not exactly. Delaying payments to suppliers, asking, delay or cancel purchases of capital or equipment. Oh yeah, if you guys have questions, please just feel free to type in the chat, but I will be answering at the end of the session. Don't worry. We have like um 9 slides to go. Yeah. And deciding the source of finance, you would need to know what's your purpose and the time period you need it for. And then the amount needed, the legal form and size, and lastly, existing obligations or control. It's basically current debt levels or credit history affect available options or terms. And knowing the importance of profit. This was asked in the paper 1 for variant 2, and a lot of you seemed to have a misconception on how to answer it. So there are 4 ways it's important, which is reward for risk taking, reward for enterprise, source of finance, and indicator of success. So it will kind of be like motivating the entrepreneur because of a reward for risk taking, also for the business, and also source of finance. Of course, it helps invest in capital, buy a new place to sell their products, to improve their products, to expand, and to the market. An indicator of success. So it says, for example, if you get like, okay, for example, let's say I have a business and suddenly I get like $1 million of profit. And that just shows that I have a successful business. But if I get $1 of profit, then it demotivates me, because like, okay, that means my business is not doing well. So it means that I'm not really doing successful. Next up, profitability concept. So this is very, very important to know, everyone. So profitability is often asked. There was a past paper last year, 2025, that asked the importance of profitability and liquidity. Who knows, it might appear tomorrow. So profitability is a measure of how effectively a business converts sales revenue into profit effectively and what percentage of sales revenue is profit. Furthermore, it is a measure of how well capital resources invested in the business generates profit. And it is important as it helps investors decide which business they should invest in and help the directors and managers of the business to see if the business is becoming successful or not. So this is measured by, of course, some of you were asking this before. How do you know if it's good or bad? So here, the higher the better of return on capital employed and net profit margin, it means it's better for the business. Gross profit margin as well. Furthermore, moving on to liquidity. So liquidity is the ability of a business to pay back its short-term debts. It is important as if it cannot pay its short-term debts when it's illiquid, if it cannot pay its suppliers, raw materials or components may not be delivered and production will be delayed. If it cannot repay an overdraft, banking facilities may be withdrawn and its credit rating will suffer. Lastly, creditors may force it to stop trading and sell its assets so that the debts owed to them are repaid. In addition, suppliers want to be reassured that a business is likely to be able to pay for them. Financial providers, such as banks, want evidence that a business is likely to be able to repay the loans or overdrafts, and customers want to be sure that a supplier will be able to produce and deliver goods it orders. And the ways to measure it is by current ratio, which is from 1.5 until 2, which is good, and asset test ratio, 1 or above. Why is return on capital employed important and what it is? So it's a financial ratio that measures like a company's profitability and their efficiency in its capital, which helps to generate operating profit. It can help like compare companies in capital intensive industries. So for example, maybe you own a business and I own a business and I use ROIs or return on capital employed to see or compare our businesses together. Yes, Remy, I do take business. And it also compares profit to the total capital employed, and it offers a more complete view of efficiency as well. So, yes, it means if the asset test ratio is over 2, it means the business is holding too much cash. Yes, that's correct. So, now because I covered all the core concepts of finance and marketing, I just want to remind you all to do remember to revise these, which is methods of production, job, flow, batch, so on. Also Kaizen, just in time. Section 1 and 2, basic concept sections like communication. Oh, please do study section 2 about communication, management, motivation, so on. Yes, so it's very important because they always ask section 2, guys, and I'm not even joking. They always ask. There was like, I think February, March 2026 had it. 4 barriers of communication. Guys, I know a lot of you were DMing me about what the answer is. So, of course, please do learn about that. And also, chapter 1 and 2 are like the basic baby chapters you would need to know, So, furthermore, break even. Who knows? You should make a break even chart tomorrow because it is in our syllabus, anyways, to be able to draw a break even chart and even interpret it. Furthermore, business cycle, recession, boom, growth, you name it. Next, motivation methods and motivation theories. Oh my god, guys, I want to emphasize this so much. Motivation methods, they appear. Piece rate, time rate, they appear. So do not skip this. And motivation theories, yeah, like Maslow's theory, Taylor's theory, they have asked this in past papers, okay, guys? And lastly, multinational or e-commerce advantages and disadvantages. So yes, this is often asked. I looked through paper 2 from 2025. They mostly asked section 1, 3, and 5, which is the basic business chapter, like was entrepreneurship, primary sector, so on, marketing, finance. The section that was not asked a lot though was, oh sorry, I looked through 2023 until 2025 papers. The chapter or section that was not asked the most was surprisingly section 4. So, but you do need to know like break even and so on. There was a past paper asking why break even is important. Many people were like scared about that and they were asking questions in the business studies chat about that. So please do know about that. That's pretty much it for today's session. So now I will move on to the questions. So please do spell out your questions and I will be answering them one by one. So first come, first serve. So the higher the asset test ratio and the current ratio, the more the business is illiquid. Can someone help answer? As I said before, if the asset test ratio is above 2, then that means the business is holding too much cash. Zizi, do you like? I will not be answering that question, North, due to time constraint. How many hours of sleep should you get for business? Personally, I think at least 8 hours of sleep, or even better, 10 hours, so that you can think better during the session. I mean, during the exam tomorrow. Analysis for current ratio and asset test ratio for both low and high ratios. I think I discussed that before somewhere. Or did my PC crash? Oh my god. Oh yeah. Okay. Where is it? Which paper was the name for barriers of communication from again? I think last year and February, March this year. Are you going to be doing the exam with us tomorrow? Yes, guys. I'm doing the exam tomorrow as well. So many people saying thank you. No problem, guys. Okay, analysis for current ratio and asset test ratio for both low and high ratios. And Batman, I will not be answering that question due to it being irrelevant to the conversation or to the session and time constraint. Yes, of course, no problem, everyone. So here I talked about asset test ratio. So a low asset test ratio means that the business does not have enough liquid assets to cover its current liabilities. But when it has too much asset test ratio, that means it's holding too much cash in the business or capital. And the current ratio also suggests the liquidity of the business as well. If the 12 marker question doesn't ask for calculations, no need to add it, right? Yes, correct. Zizi, sometimes they like to ask you about how the business owner or manager can use cash flow forecast or break even analysis. Oh, I personally, when I see questions like that, there is the last sub chapter. I think it's about analysis of accounts. I use that. Or if you think logically, for example, managers, they use cash flow forecast to predict what the business could be like in the future, so it can influence their decisions. And bank managers, they want to see if the business has enough liquidity to pay the short-term debts or the loans. If current ratio is high, does that mean business is holding too much inventory, which means high inventory cost, which decreases profit margin, right? High inventory cost means that you would have to have an increase in cash outflow. I don't see how it's related to profit unless you're talking about. Oh yeah, no, I don't see how it's related to profit. And if current ratio is high, does that mean business is holding too much? No. A high current ratio means a company has significantly more short-term assets than short-term liabilities. I mean, it does indicate strong financial stability, but it means that the business is inefficiently like having too much capital as well. And they have like too much inventory rather than reinvesting it for growth. Oh yeah, if you guys want to ask me a question, please ping me. How do I make a good conclusion for 12 marks? Oh, wait, I will use my sample. I once put it in the business chat. Wait. Where is it? So, I do want to emphasize that I did write too much for this one, and my second paragraph is repetitive. Don't repeat, guys. But I've recorrected it, but I haven't reposted it. Wait. Where do I wait? Let me. Do you have guest papers for 0450 paper 2? No, I do not have. If a business has a low asset test ratio, can you say the business has expanded too much so it can lead to the economies of scale? Asset test ratio is more about liquidity. Okay, so back to the evaluation question. Okay, ignore my second paragraph. Let's completely ignore that. It's repetitive, but I will send an updated one later. Okay, wait, how do I cover it? Okay, let's cover it like oops. Okay, let's cover it like this. Okay. The first paragraph is correct though. But yeah, completely ignore my second paragraph, okay? So see, you can see here. I talked about these two employees. I said that Tiana is the best, and I explained why I did not pick Via. Why did I pick Tiana? So what I would do in cases like these, I would put two advantages for Tiana and one disadvantage for Via to show how more advantageous Tiana is compared to Via. So you can see, like I said, even though Via has specific experience in the vegan area, the opportunity cost of keeping the restaurant closed for 2 months while she trains is too high for a new business that needs immediate cash flow to survive. To make an effective evaluation, guys, you need to counter argument. I repeat, argue, argue, argue. Many people just state, oh, I think Tiana's the best because she has more qualifications. Guys, no, that's not enough, guys. You need to explain. Pretend like you're in an argument with someone and you're trying to defend your point, okay? That's how you should treat a recommendation or conclusion. But this time we have two choices. For example, let's say, I think I gave an example in the business chat regarding perfume. I talked about this. For example, let's say your friend asks you whether they should buy perfume A or perfume B. So you'll say something like this. Oh, perfume A. It's really nice. It has a floral scent, but it only has 50 milliliters and it's also very expensive. And then you would discuss about perfume B. Oh, perfume B is more refreshing, but it's not that portable as its shape is impractical and too big to fit into a normal bag. But it has a capacity of 150 milliliters, which is way more, and it's way cheaper. And the and you would sum it up by, okay, well, I think personally, as your friend, I would think you should go for perfume B because with a refreshing smell, it brings you a strong sense of aura, which allows people to feel your presence. Perfume A could be too strong if applied too much, while when perfume B is applied too much, the smell isn't very strong but still sensible to the nostrils. Furthermore, since perfume A is too expensive, this may decrease your pocket money to spend for other items that you favor. So you see how I still use the same knowledge, but a different analysis. And I gave new knowledge points, which allows me to give a new analysis. That's right. You cannot repeat knowledge points in conclusion, everyone. You cannot repeat it, okay? Unless you have a new analysis. So when you doing recommendations or conclusions, it's either new knowledge, which brings a new analysis, or same knowledge but a new analysis. Because overall cost is being increased. Oh yeah, also I hope that clears up something. Because overall cost is being increased, which would reduce net profit, no. But this isn't directly related to the customers, so I don't see how profit is a factor here. Can you go over the pros and cons of operating in developing countries? I'm so sorry, there's a time constraint. I cannot revise on that right now. Is it possible to use a break-even point as a comparison between businesses? If yes, the higher the break-even point, the higher the cost is. I don't see it commonly that you would need to compare break-even points. And it's a really great question, by the way. It's such a creative question. A higher break-even point means your business must sell, or the business must sell more units or generate more revenue to cover all its costs. So yes, the higher the cost, it indicates a higher level of financial risk. So you need to maintain high sales to avoid taking a loss. And it also brings a slower path to profitability. CZ, do you have guest papers for 0450 paper 2? No, I do not. If a business has a low asset test ratio, can you say that the business has expanded too much so it can lead to the economies of scale? It's not, once again, it's not related to expansion. It's about liquidity. A lower asset test ratio would mean lower liquidity. So it's kind of becoming illiquid. So it can't pay its short-term debts. How much time should I spend per question for 8 marker and 12 marker? I would say it really depends on the person. Personally, I don't do it by minutes. I do it by doing 12 marker questions first. For 12 mark questions, we have two options. Should you write advantages and disadvantages? Because I've seen people say you should and some say you shouldn't. To be safe, I just write advantages and disadvantages. And also, it really depends on the context of the question. Can you give the structure for 12 marker questions? I'm seriously clueless on 12 markers. There is no structure to 12 markers. It is based on levels. Where is my slide about levels? This, please refer to, please refer to this or the previous slide. Yes, the previous slide. Oh, that's okay. Guys, can I can just say a bunch of increases customer awareness, satisfied consumer needs, makes employees feel valued to the business, increases revenue, increases profit, increases workplace morale and motivation. Okay. Common analysis points is increased profit margin, increased sales, increased customer base, so on. So in recommendation, this for via to, oh, someone asked about, is repeating your application losing a mark? They will not mark this the time you repeat it. From your past experience, do you think that pricing method will appear tomorrow? Well. I have my IGCSEs tomorrow, so I don't really have that much past experience. But definitely I think it will appear tomorrow. That's why I discussed about it. If Zizi was to become a teacher, she would be the cool teacher. Thank you very much. How to consider each of the following businesses objectives for DH. Profit, market share, survival. So you would talk about like why would businesses need to focus on this exact thing? What's the importance? Like the importance of profit. Oh, profit is important because it indicates success. Market share is important. Market share is very important for a business because it could sorry. Um if they have a larger market share, that means also that they have like a larger like business, which means they could like enjoy like higher profit margins. They could benefit from economies of scale and also bulk operations, expanded production, lower unit costs, so on. Survival, because well, of course they need to survive because like of course like okay, sorry guys, wait, I'm lagging a bit. Wait. Okay, hello, sorry, can you guys hear me? Okay. So business survival is important because it helps like affect profit and growth, as a business must stay operational and also to survive. For example, you want to expand. Yeah, survival is very important because you also need to like if you want to expand such. In questions where the marks are 444, are the marks which marker are you talking about? Oh my god, there's 96 messages I need to scroll down to. Wait. Is Team Rocket here? Businesses remain small because of the owner's choice. Um, also, access and availability to capital. Furthermore, market size and market domination. Okay, I don't think Rocket is here, so sorry, I will be skipping that question. Are there any predicted topics? No, I'm sorry. What's going to be your strategy tomorrow? Read the case study first. I always read the case study first. I take really short time to read the case study. Tips on 12-mark questions. Make sure you double check and have your analysis so that you can get a level 2 at least, and make sure to not make silly mistakes on your conclusion because you need to counter argue. Is it possible for the acid test ratio to be negative? That would be an invalid acid test ratio. That's very illiquid. When doing a 12 marker in paper 2, using this as an example, will I first give an advantage of market share and then analyze, then in the same paragraph, right? However, blah, 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 then move on. That is allowed. But just, I'd rather save time and just write what it is, why is it important, and analyze it. In 12 markers, how many advantage and disadvantage do you write for each point if it's 2 options, and then for 3 options? For 2 options, I write 1 advantage, disadvantage, and the same goes for 3 options. Zizi, are you giving the exam with us tomorrow? Yes, I'm variant 2, guys. What can be a disadvantage of a high current ratio or acid test ratio? They both mean that the business holds too much inventory or too much capital, and that means like they're not using it for a good use. Like they need to find a way to make it more profitable for growth. ZZ, miss? Miss, what topics do you think mainly will come up in the exam? Definitely section 2, section 3, and section 5. For the 12-mark justification conclusion part, do you state your choice and summarize, or summarize then state your choice? It's not exactly summarize, okay, guys? as I said before, conclusion. You need to have the same knowledge point with a new analysis, or a new knowledge point with a new analysis. So personally, I do it as I state my choice, and then I explain why. And then the choice that I did not take, my opportunity cost, I explain, oh, I did not pick it because blah 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 blah. Like my perfume example before. Like for 12 markers when there's a total of 3 sections. Oh, sorry, I forgot your question, Team Rocket. Um in the questions there are like um it really depends on the question. It's either advantages or disadvantages or a use of further analysis. Is it possible for the oh, I think I answered that already. Thank you, Zizi. No problem. Upper bound limit for time to take in 12 markers. I'd say okay, so if we have 1 hour, 15 or 12, I don't know. I personally don't count it like that. I I give myself time 45 minutes for for all the 12 markers, so all 12 markers, then the other 45 minutes for 8 markers. Good luck, Miss Edie, and thank you. Of course, no problem. Sleep early, wake up early. What's the difference of cash flow forecast, income statement, and statement of financial position? Cash flow forecast, um, so accounts basically. How do I say this? That's such a good question. Statement of financial position. How do I explain this? So cash flow forecast kind of predicts the money that moves in and out of your business within a specific time frame. Income statement. It shows the profit or loss from the company's revenues and expenses. And statement of financial position. It's like a report for like money or finance, like assets, um, like liabilities, and so more. So in conclusion, recommendation, you basically say your choice and this for the bad one and advantage for the good one. Yeah, for example, my perfume example, I said why that perfume was better than the other one and why I did not pick the other perfume. What are the odds location decisions will appear tomorrow? Who knows? Thank you, Zizi. Thank you, Zizi. Of course, no problem. Is it possible to get an A with doing one past paper before the exam? As long as you understand the business concepts, I definitely think everyone here can ace an A tomorrow. What are the disadvantages of cash flow forecast? And if a question like what is more important, profit or cash flow forecast for a business? What will be the disadvantages of profit? I'm very sorry. It will take very long to explain. We only have 10 minutes left. Thank you so much, ZZ. Of course, no problem. Yes, profit is needed for expansion dividends. Oh, importance for profit, source of finance, indicator of success, reward of risk taking, and reward of enterprise. Um, Cash flow forecast for business. I discussed this before already. Where is my cash flow slide? Guys, my computer is glitching. Oh, never mind. This is easy. Can you check off? Yes, I will. Do you think paper 2 is going to be hard tomorrow since paper 1 was kind of easy for us variant 2s? I'm variant 2 as well. No idea, by the way. Of course, no problem. Thank you. Good luck, guys. Are there any more questions? Are these shareable slides? Yes, I will share this after the session. All right, are there any more questions before I end off the session? Which app do we need to in conclusion for 12 marks? Um, and thank you all the best. Any application is fine, in my opinion. Zizi, please stop increasing grade boundaries, guys. Definitely, I won't, okay? It's not only me who's going to increase grade boundaries, okay? One person can't increase all the grade boundaries. As much as I love business. Thank you for the session. Yes, no problem, everyone. Thank you. Yes. How do you get further analysis marks? I don't have a business teacher. I think I talked about this in analysis. Team Rocket. This the result. So what, how, and effect. So it's I would basically explain it to my friends as the analysis of the analysis. Yes, of course, no problem. Are there any other questions before I end the session? And don't worry about tomorrow, guys. It's going to be okay as long as you study and practice past papers. I know you all can do it. And also, business has also logic, in my opinion. How to avoid careless mistakes, please. Double check and study and practice. Well, you'll be able to check one or two of my answers if I send it. Oh, I'll see because, yeah. I also have the exam tomorrow. I also have to study, but I can try. Are you not scared to do past papers? Um, No. Should I do past papers or read notes? Which is better? I think you should read through the book and then attempt past papers. I thought you finished IGCS. No, I'm having my IGCSEs right now. I'm doing it this session. Yes, of course, no problem. All right. Are there any other questions before I end the session? I think content then. What are your qualifications for the session? I'm a business studies helper. I have 4 helper roles: ICT, sociology, coordinate science, and business studies. To host a session, you need to be a helper, as far as to my knowledge. For last minute revision, could you tell which units to revise? Chapter 1, 2, 3, and 5. I feel like section 4 and 6 is common sense. You don't need to flex how cool you are, Z. Not my intention. I'm so sorry. Which subject do you like more, business or biology? I don't take biology, so I like business. How do you study for business tomorrow? Oh, I look through my notes and do past paper questions. Also, guys, not to advertise or promote here, but Mr. Lee's videos are really simple and concise. So if you want to do last minute studying, do revise from his videos. Do you love 12 marker calculation questions? Oh my god, yes, I love it. Can you send the link of his YouTube channel? I think Lee made a main resource thing. Oh my god, it's easy. Wait, how do you know what calculations to make? It depends what is there. Current assets, current liabilities, revenue, expenses, variable costs, so on. Should I do past papers from the mark scheme since I have no time? I think it's better for you to know the content instead. Oh yes, thank you, Melon, for pasting the link. All right, are there any more questions before I end the session? How to double check? You read through it again and make sure you have your analysis, knowledge, application, conclusion, so on. When will you end the session? When all the questions are done and have been answered. Are you better or greater than Chester? I'm Zizi. Can you briefly go through the 12 markers once again, please? We only have 2 minutes. So 12 markers, there are 3 levels. To put simply, level 1 is basically just knowledge with no impact. Level 2 is with the impact and knowledge, and level 3 explains the impact of the knowledge on the business and why the chosen point is the most suitable and why the others are unsuitable. For the conclusions, why each one is good and why your choice. Yes, like the perfume one. Guys, let's let her go. It's okay. It's okay, Rune. It's really no problem. What's microfunding and crowdfunding? Microfinance is small loans for entrepreneurs in developing countries. Crowdfunding, just think of GoFundMe or $1 for one tree planted. Yes, Theo, thank you very much. What a great example. Are you better than greatest jester? There is no comparison here, okay? Every business studies helper or everyone helping in business is all equally very good and nice. So please do appreciate every ounce of help they give. Amen. Thank you very much, Rune. Yes, I will share the slides link. What if you get. Okay, guys, let's think positively for tomorrow. I'm sure all of you will ace it tomorrow. Don't worry. Could you share your last minute revision plan for tonight and tomorrow before exam? What I'm doing right now is looking at my notes. I'm someone who's good at memorizing, so I do memorize, but I also do understand. I don't remember everything. And also look at Mr. Lee's videos as well. Refer to resources as well in the business studies chat and IGCSE 8. Notes from Z notes, but I think you're gonna keep them. I use my own notes, but it's handwritten. As I think I shared my section 6 notes on the channel. Yeah, do refer to that. Also, guys, just to add, I think if you guys don't get the levels, this is what my business teachers taught me, but Lee corrected me for this. Just see this as like a foundation. Wait, where is it? Um, let me. To put it into simpler terms for 12 marks, you can revise it again like this. Yes, so if levels are hard for you, just think of it like this. But then remember again, it's based on levels. What are two different types? It really depends on like three choices or such. Okay, so if there are no questions, I will be wrapping up the session. So before I end it, I would like to say thank you all to those who have attended the session. I'm very grateful, and I'm also very happy to have the opportunity to be helping today and to give a session. So I would like to thank the Blue Mods and Chat Mods also for giving me this opportunity. Thank you very much. And for tomorrow, don't overthink it, guys. Business is common sense or logic. As long as you revise and you understand the structures, you will definitely ace it tomorrow. And I'm also taking the exam, so we're in this together, guys. So, highly. So, so thank you very much, everyone. I hope you have a great day, afternoon, or night, and I hope this session was very helpful. Before I end it off, I would like to apologize for any mistakes or anything I've said wrong during the session. And of course, good luck tomorrow. So thank you very much, all, and have a great day. Good luck studying. Bye, guys. Bye. Bye, guys. Thank you very much. Oh, sorry. What was your question? Okay. Thank you. I'll be sending in pins. Thank you very much, guys. If you have any questions, please feel free to DM me or type in the business studies chat. Thank you all.